There's a kind of power that does not roar, does not announce itself, does not beg to be recognized, and does not need to shout in order to be heard. It is a power that emerges not from what is said, but from what is withheld, not from what is displayed, but from what remains hidden, not from the gestures that flood attention, but from the restraint that stars it. This power is not about adding more, but about subtracting, not about shining brighter, but about casting shadows that others cannot look away from. It is a paradox that sits at the center of human psychology. The less you give, the more others seek. The quieter you remain, the louder their imagination becomes. The emptier you appear, the more they project into you. And this, precisely, is what Machiavelli's hidden law of the void teaches us. When you offer them nothing, they will give you everything. To understand this law, you must first understand the nature of human desire. People believe they want certainty, but certainty kills attraction. People think they want transparency, but transparency kills mystique. People claim they want everything on the table, but once it is laid bare, once it is predictable, once it is defined, the hunger dies. What keeps desire alive is not what is known, but what is unknown. It is not the answers that bind us. It is the questions. And so the one who offers nothing becomes not empty, but magnetic. Because in that absence, people find a stage for their own fears, their own fantasies, their own need for validation. Silence, therefore, is not emptiness. Silence is a weapon. Restraint is not weakness. Restraint is control. Distance is not absence. Distance is altitude. And when a man learns to master these, he no longer plays by the rules of the crowd. He rises above them. He becomes the one who sets the tempo of every interaction. He becomes the void. Think of this for a moment. In a world addicted to noise, addicted to notifications, addicted to the constant drip of validation and commentary, the one who refuses to play this game becomes a force of gravity. He is not competing for attention, yet attention drifts toward him. He is not declaring himself, yet others declare for him. He is not explaining himself, yet others write stories about him. Because the truth is, people cannot tolerate gaps. They cannot tolerate unanswered questions. They cannot tolerate ambiguity. And yet, paradoxically, they are drawn to it, addicted to it, obsessed by it. That is why the man who offers nothing becomes everything. When you practice this law, you begin to see the patterns of human weakness. Watch how people over-explain themselves, pouring out details nobody asked for, because silence terrifies them. Watch how they overshare, throwing away their leverage, because they confuse exposure with intimacy. Watch how they rush to fill every pause, every moment of quiet, with words that betray more than they realize. And understand this, the more they reveal, the more they weaken themselves. The more you reveal, the more they can measure you, categorize you, limit you. But when you reveal nothing, when you withhold, when you let silence do the talking, you force them into a position of surrender. They must guess. They must chase. They must give. That is the heart of Machiavelli's law of the void. You win not by fighting, not by pushing, not by declaring, but by refusing to enter their frame at all. You hold back. You watch. You let them expose themselves. And in that moment, the battlefield tilts in your favor. History has shown this law again and again. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, commanded not with loud proclamations, but with a calm detachment that unsettled even his enemies. Genghis Khan, feared by empires, often offered silence and false trees before unleashing destruction. His lack of visible hunger created paranoia. His restraint made others underestimate him. Machiavelli himself, exiled in silence, wrote to the few, but his quiet word became louder across centuries than any war cry of his time. The figures who shaped the world were not those who gave everything away, but those who revealed little, those who mastered the void. Even in nature, the lesson repeats. A black hole, the most terrifying object in the universe, does not radiate but absorbs, not showing light but bending it. The ocean holds its power not in its surface noise, but in its unfathomable depths. A mountain commands not because it moves, but because it does not. Power is not always an activity. Power often resides in stillness. So what does it mean practically to live by Machiavelli's law of the void? It means training yourself to resist the urge to explain, to justify, to overexpose. It means cultivating the discipline to let silence stand where others would rush to speak. It means recognizing that the less you offer, the more value attaches to every word, every glance, every movement you finally decide to make. It means building an aura of restraint so that others feel compelled to lean in, to guess, to interpret, to invest. Because here is the paradox of influence. The one who chases loses power, but the one who makes others chase becomes the center of gravity. The one who floods a world with his presence is ignored, but the one who withholds presence becomes unforgettable. Scarcity breeds value. Ambiguity breeds obsession. Silence breeds weight. And when you learn this, you stop bleeding power through words and gestures, and you begin to draw it in without effort. Imagine this in everyday life. You walk into a room, and instead of rushing to fill the air with chatter, you sit in stillness. People notice. They wonder. They lean in. Someone asks you a question, but instead of giving them the long justification they expect, you answer with a few calm words. Nothing more. The silence stretches. They scramble to fill it, to explain themselves, to seek your approval. You haven't given them anything, and yet they give you everything. This is not passivity. It is active control. It is weaponized emptiness. You do not withdraw because you are afraid. You withdraw because you understand that absence radiates more than presence when used with discipline. You are not ignoring them. You are making them chase you. And the more they chase, the more they invest. The more they invest, the more they surrender. You must understand, every human interaction is an exchange of energy, of attention, of validation. Most men bankrupt themselves by offering too much, too fast, without discipline. They reveal all their desires, all their intentions, all their emotions in the name of honesty or connection. And in doing so, they bleed out their leverage. But the man who embraces the void offers nothing he does not intend to. He calculates every word, every gesture. He delays. He resists. He lets the silence grow heavy until the other side can no longer stand it. And in that moment, they give him more than he ever could have taken. This is why Machiavelli's law of the void is not just a strategy, but a way of being. It is a cultivation of an aura, a presence that unsettles without effort. You do not need to speak to dominate a room. You do not need to explain to gain loyalty. You do not need to beg for attention to be unforgettable. The man who offers nothing is the man they cannot stop thinking about. The man who withholds is the man they pursue. The man who refuses to be known becomes the most powerful presence of all.